Have you ever felt like everyone suddenly disappeared from your life? Your phone stops ringing, old friends don't call anymore, relationships fall apart without explanation, and even the opportunities you were holding on to suddenly vanish into thin air. It feels lonely. It feels like rejection. You start to question yourself. What did I do wrong? Is there something wrong with me? But what if I told you? This is not rejection. This is not a punishment. This is God's divine preparation. This is a deliberate process designed to get you ready for something far greater than you could have ever imagined. In today's message, I'm going to show you why God separates you before He blesses you, how this connects to the greatest success principles ever taught, and why this season of isolation may not be a setback, but the most powerful season of your life. This is where your faith is forged, your purpose is clarified, and your greatest breakthroughs being prepared. Think about the great figures of faith and success. Their stories almost always begin with a profound period of separation. Consider Joseph. He was a young man with a big dream, but his journey started with his own brothers turning on him. He was separated from his family, thrown into a pit, and sold into slavery. He spent years in isolation, first as a slave, then in prison. This wasn't a random misfortune. It was in the lonely cell and the forgotten corners of a foreign land that Joseph was forced to develop his character, his wisdom, and his ability to manage a household. It was only after this long period of separation that he was elevated to become the second most powerful man in all of Egypt. He had to be isolated to be prepared to rule a nation. And then there's Moses. He was born in the house of Pharaoh, but before he could lead the Israelites, he was separated and sent into the desert for 40 years. For decades, he was a lonely shepherd. It was in the silence of the desert, far away from the distractions and noise of Egypt, that he encountered the burning bush. It was in that solitude that he was prepared, transformed, and given the vision and authority to lead a people out of slavery. Even Jesus, the Son of God, understood this principle. The Bible tells us in Luke 5:16, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." Before performing his greatest miracles, before teaching his most profound lessons, Jesus intentionally sought out solitude. He knew that to connect with his Father and prepare for his ministry, he had to separate himself from the crowds. This wasn't just a physical withdrawal, it was a spiritual and mental reset. This pattern shows us that separation is not a punishment. It's a prerequisite for transformation. It's in the quiet, empty spaces that God refines you and prepares you for your purpose. This isn't just a spiritual principle. Napoleon Hill, in his classic book Think and Grow Rich, called this period the quiet time. He believed that great ideas and plans are often born in solitude, where the mind can focus without external distractions. It's where you can think, plan, and create with unhindered focus. Similarly, Neville Goddard referred to this as entering the silence, a state where imagination and faith can meet and create the reality you desire. The greatest breakthroughs, both spiritual and material, often come from these periods of separation and introspection. Sometimes, the people and habits in our lives are the very things holding us back. God, in His divine wisdom, often removes people who can't go with you to the next level. This can feel incredibly painful and confusing. You might lose friends you thought would be there forever or have a relationship fall apart unexpectedly. But these are not losses. They are strategic removals. Think of it as a divine pruning. God is stripping away the dead weight and the distractions that are keeping you from reaching your full potential. Toxic relationships that drain your energy, draining friendships that fill your life with negativity, and unhealthy habits that keep you stuck. They get stripped away not to hurt you, but to protect you. If you're feeling abandoned, it may be God's protection, creating space for what is truly meant for you. As it says in 2 Corinthians 6:17, "Therefore, come out from them and be separate, says the Lord." This isn't about isolation for the sake of being alone. It's about being set apart for a purpose. You are being called out of the environment that doesn't serve your future and into one that aligns with your destiny. You cannot walk into a new season carrying the baggage of the old one. God is clearing the path for you. This aligns perfectly with Neville Goddard's teaching that your environment is a reflection of your state of mind. When God shifts your mindset and prepares you for a new level of success and faith, your old environment must also change to match your new reality. The people and places that once defined you must be left behind so you can fully step into who you are becoming. In the silence of solitude, You build a foundation of inner strength and faith that can't be developed in the midst of chaos. When all the external noise is gone, you are forced to confront yourself and your purpose. This is when your reliance shifts from people and circumstances to God alone. You are learning to hear His voice more clearly because the distractions that once drowned it out are gone. This is the season where your imagination, your faith, and your purpose begin to align. It's a time for deep self-reflection, spiritual growth, and an uncheckable connection with your Creator. The Bible reminds us in Isaiah 40-31, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." This is what this season is all about: waiting, not in idleness, but in a state of renewed spiritual energy. You are being renewed from the inside out. Your roots are growing deeper so you can withstand any storm that comes your way. This is where you discover that you are not fragile, you are resilient. This is where you learn to trust the unseen hand of God, even when your path seems unclear. This is where you develop the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are in Him. This is the spiritual equivalent of Napoleon Hill's principle that every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Your period of isolation is not a period of loss. It is the fertile ground where the seeds of your future success are being planted and nurtured. Every tear shed and every lonely moment endured is a powerful catalyst for growth and resilience. Neville Goddard's law of assumption is a powerful principle of personal development. It teaches us to assume the wish is fulfilled, to live and think as if we already have what we desire. This isn't a spiritual gimmick, it's a powerful truth echoed throughout the Bible. In Mark 11:24, Jesus says, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." This isn't just a nice sentiment, it is a command to act on faith. It is a call to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the reality of your blessing before you see any physical evidence of it. When you're in a season of separation, God is teaching you to do exactly this. He is forcing you to rely on faith, not on what you see. You are learning to assume the blessing before you see it. You are learning to believe in a promotion that hasn't arrived, a relationship that hasn't started, and a breakthrough that seems impossible. Your separation is not punishment, it's a training ground for faith. It's where God tests your belief and builds your capacity to receive the greater blessing that is coming your way. You are being prepared to not only receive your blessing, but to steward it properly. The training is just as important as the destination. So, if you're feeling alone right now, rejoice. Do not be discouraged. If doors closed in your face, it's because God is preparing a bigger one to open. If people left, it's because they cannot walk with you into the season God is about to release in your life. Remember the promise in Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Your separation is not a mistake. It is a part of God's perfect plan to prepare you for the blessing that is coming. Trust the process, embrace the solitude, and know that you are not forgotten. You are being prepared for your greatest breakthrough yet. If this message spoke to your heart and you believe that God is working in your life, I want you to write Amen in the comments below. Let this be your public declaration that you trust God's plan for your life. And remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next message. See you soon.